Call Donnelly's today.
You know, we've been predicting for weeks during the government shutdown when the president was overseas traveling on, as we said, a very important trip for the United States security. We had suggested when he got back and focused on health care that he was probably going to have a different position than the Republicans who are running this issue into the ground. Well, he may be changing the White House stance on the extension of affordable health care, Affordable Care Act subsidies. Health insurance premiums, of course, as you know, are set to skyrocket if the subsidies expire at the end of the year, which would make coverage even more unaffordable for millions of Americans. The looming deadline was a main point of contention that caused that record-breaking government shutdown. But Republicans, with the life raft thrown out to them, are tossing it back toward the boat and saying, no, thank you. We don't want to extend the subsidies, even though it is going to be extraordinarily damaging to them politically. President Trump yesterday, though, still moving forward and saying he's talking to Democrats about this deal.
Somebody said, I want to extend them for 2 years. I don't want to extend them for 2 years. I'd rather not extend them at all. It may be some kind of an extension may be necessary to get something else done because the Unaffordable Care Act has been a disaster. It's a Democrat plan, and the premiums are going up, and it's the Democrats' fault. But, you know, they are negotiating with me. It's very interesting. They want to see something happen.
Who are you talking to?
I can't tell you who, but we have a lot of Democrats want this plan to happen. They would love to see the money go to the people and the people go out and get their own health care. And there would be nothing like it.
You know, Sam Stein, we've been saying for the past couple of weeks as this shutdown was going on, how it was going to be damaging to the Republicans because health care has become such a key issue. And Donald Trump, of course, has as good a political instincts as anybody in Washington, D.C., probably much better, and understands what a huge issue this is going to be. So it's not that surprising, is it, that he's actually trying to move the Democrats his direction, or move the Republicans his direction, and try to get some sort of deal that doesn't expose the Republican Party going into the 2026 elections.
100%. I mean, Trump understands that this is a real albatross. We know that he recognizes that medical costs are a political issue because he keeps talking about the price of prescription drugs. You know, he's going to get that down through Medicare negotiations and favored nation status and so on and so forth. He also understands that when it comes to insurance premiums, same exact dynamics. If they are going to rise, he will get the blame. The Republican Party will get the blame, even though this is Obamacare related. The reason they'll get the blame is precisely because Democrats have been warning about this issue for months, saying it needs to be dealt with. They shut down the government over it. They actually emerged from that shutdown fight better off. Despite conventional wisdom that they were going to lose the shutdown, they emerged, by polling standards, better off from that shutdown fight. People wanted action on these Obamacare enhanced premiums or subsidies that are going to expire. And now Trump's in this place where he's got a couple weeks where he's got to get some sort of deal. But the issue here, of course, is that House Republicans cannot sign off on anything that seems like they are sustaining Obamacare. It is part of their Constitution. It is in their DNA that they cannot support the Affordable Care Act. So Trump's in a really hard spot. It's interesting, and I'm very curious to see what he does with this. I don't think he's going to do this, Joe, but a more dexterous politician in this case, a Clinton-like politician in this case, would triangulate. He'd tell his party, you know what, pound sand. Like, I'm going to do this for the American people. I'll have a bunch of moderate Republicans and a lot of Democrats, and I'll cut a deal, and you can yell at me, you can bark at me, but I'm going to make this thing happen. I don't know if Trump's going to do it, but that would be a smart play, potentially.
I'm not sure that he wouldn't do it, Jonathan Lemire, because the one thing Donald Trump wants to avoid is Democrats winning in 2026 and on January 4th, 2027, having the power of the subpoena. And they will have that if Republicans remain as flat-footed as the Republicans in the House of Representatives have been. You know, they love to go around saying, abolish Obamacare. Oh, I wish I could abolish. You know, they'll throw these phrases out, and Americans will just look at them and say, okay, my insurance rates are exploding. I don't really care if this is the Democrats' fault. I don't really care if this is Obamacare's fault. I don't really care whose fault this is. Right now, Republicans in the House, you're the ones who are blocking my family getting relief on health care. And that is, again, as we've always said, that's something Donald Trump understands to his political core. And right now, the Republicans in the House, they just may not be smart enough to take the life vest he's throwing them.
I think we should never lose sight of, and we've talked about this for months, I've reported on it, so many of Trump's decisions are based purely out of fear about those looming midterms, because he knows what would happen if the Democrats get back even just one House of Congress, let's say it is the lower chamber, and as you say, has the power of the subpoena for him and his family, potentially could even impeach him again. He wants nothing to do with that. This is a tricky spot, though, as Sam just outlined. Republicans in the House, they want nothing to do with the Affordable Care Act. Trump himself, though he's made it clear, understand the need to address some of these rising costs. We know how he feels about anything attached to Barack Obama. The Affordable Care Act is something he would love to undo if he could, but he seems pretty stuck. So there is a tension point here, and we have seen the last few weeks over the Epstein matter, in the wake of the elections, Republicans are just starting to willing to defy President Trump. Let's not overstate it, but it has been happening, now and then. And they did it this week. The White House was going to put out its own health care plan this week, and the House said no, and they had to pull it down. Pretty embarrassing move for the West Wing, Joe, that they had to do that. So we don't know what's next. Maybe it's some sort of short-term solution, as the president sort of hinted at there on Air Force One. But it is a looming political crisis for a White House and Republicans who are just for the first time maybe starting to look at their political future beyond Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, though, Mika, if they are, there are a lot of these Democrats, or a lot of Republicans in these Democratic swing districts that aren't going to have a political future unless they do something along the lines of what Donald Trump is talking about doing, and that is extending some of these health care subsidies that Democrats were fighting for. There are times, and Bill Clinton, speaking of Bill Clinton, there are times where a president understands, I've got no choice, I've got to move. On welfare reform, Bill Clinton vetoed our welfare reform bill. One time, we sent it back to him. He did it the second time, vetoed it. We sent it back the third time. He knew we had to sign it. It's the same thing with the balanced budget. We kept fighting. We shut down the government. We kept going back and forth. He finally had to move our direction because he understood that's where the American people were. And just like Donald Trump is understanding right now, the American people are hurting because of health care costs, and Republicans in the House, if they want to win, they need to wake up and listen.
Yeah. These people are going to respond when they see how high those premiums go. All right, a few minutes past the top of the hour, Army Secretary Dan Driscoll has spent the past 2 days in Abu Dhabi speaking to a Russian delegation about the latest terms involved in a potential peace deal. Citing two sources, NBC News reports that Driscoll gave a grim assessment of Ukraine's future prospects on the battlefield during meetings in Kyiv last week. Yesterday afternoon, President Trump posted on